Good evening and welcome to the EKU Alumni Spotlight Series. My name is Dan McBride. I am the Associate Vice President for Development and Alumni Engagement at EKU. And once again, I will be your host tonight as we visit with another EKU alum who is out in the world doing amazing things. And tonight we've got a great story and an exciting guest that we will get to in just a few moments. This is our final virtual broadcast of the 2021 year. And we certainly want to say a special thank you to all of you who have tuned in faithfully and followed us this year, whether it's been with the Alumni Spotlight series or the Colonel's Kitchen or some of the other virtual programming that we have done over the course of the past year. We appreciate your support. And also, obviously, to those folks who have joined us for some of our in-person events as we have started getting those going again this fall and had the opportunity to have a few in-person events. And we are looking forward to hopefully even more events coming up in the spring and even in the winter months of 2022. We've got some news coming up about some tours that we will be taking, some visits to the Sunshine State, and also maybe south of here, but not that far south for another visit. So be watching your emails and social media for more information on some upcoming events from the EKU Alumni Office. And of course, we will be back in 2022 with more Alumni Spotlight Series segments, and we will also be back with more of the Colonel's Kitchen in 2022. So be watching for information on those as they come up. And we're really finishing up the year tonight with a great guest. I'm very excited about what we have in store for you tonight because the accomplishments are great, and also the story of our guest tonight is great. I think you're going to really enjoy hearing some of the things that this young man has overcome and where it has taken him in life and where he is today and some of the things that he is doing. So without any further ado, let's get to tonight's guest. He is a 2011 graduate of Eastern Kentucky University, comes from the Department of Communications, and he is Harry, the Hurricane Hunsucker. Harry, get in here and welcome to the Alumni Spotlight Series.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. I appreciate you being on tonight. I'm excited to hear your story and hear a little bit about your career. And the first thing I need to know is, where did the Hurricane come from? How did you get that nickname?
So actually my ex-wife, her uncle Junior, started calling me Triple H. She said, "Harry, you're Harry the Hurricane," and I liked it. It stuck, and it picked up. It is I don't know. It happened for a reason. I like it a lot.
Triple H. I didn't even think about that. That's,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Triple H was kind of already taken, but it's still
Right.
false.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your life, because I know you're originally from Cleveland, but you eventually ended up in Kentucky. Tell us kind of how that came about.
Sure. So I was born in a place called Paynesville, Ohio. It's about 40 miles east of Cleveland. My father left at a young age. I was just a little kid whenever he went out of the picture, and my mom remarried, and there was some abuse happening between her and him. And one day she loaded us up in the car with just what we had on our back, and we came to Kentucky to my grandparents' house, and restarted life down here, and became a Kentuckian. Nobody in Kentucky likes people from Ohio, though.
Well, you've been here long enough now that you're adopted.
I'm from Kentucky. Yeah.
So you ended up in Rockcastle County, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Down in
so
Roundstone.
Talk a little bit about growing up down there, because I know life wasn't always easy as you were growing up in Rockcastle County.
Sure. So, we lived with my grandparents for I don't even remember really. We lived with them for a little while, and then we moved into this trailer park, which is Ramsey's Trailer Park. And it's notoriously, one of the most rundown and, drug infested places in Rockcastle County. And I mean, it still looks the same as it did back then today, maybe even worse. And so we moved there, and I've got a name that can be made fun of very easily. You know what I mean? So I've been getting made fun of my whole life. I've been getting picked on my whole life, and we didn't have a lot. You know what I mean? My mom was a hard worker, and she always worked hard to provide for us. But we always we didn't always have everything we needed though. You know what I mean? So we lived pretty tough, and I mean, kids start at a very young age, with bullying and things of that nature. So I was getting bullied at a very young age, because of my name, because we lived in the trailer park, because I was new to the school. I acted different. Most of the people down here are very Southern, and I was, I'm from
Not.
Ohio. You know what I mean? So I was a target for bullying from day one. And one thing that made it a little bit tougher too is my older brother was always cool. And when the older brother's cool, the little brother is always the one that gets harassed too. You know what I mean? So people would call my brother Romeo and all kinds of stuff. All the girls wanted to hang out with Daniel, and I don't know. I didn't know where I fit in. So, I just stayed to myself a lot.
Do you think that some of that is kind of, you kind of had to learn to fight a little bit and defend yourself at an early age. You think that's kind of what led you to where you got into the fighting?
Oh yeah. 100%. As kids, me and my brother and my cousins, we were all very physical children. We were fighting and wrestling and stuff all the time. And, we were always getting in trouble because we were fighting each other. We were always in trouble for fighting. And then, once, I don't even remember when I got into the first fight, you know what I mean? But once I realized that, people were picking on me and I needed to take up for myself, it just, fighting became what you had to do. Not, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it wasn't a privilege or anything, like it is now. It was like you had to then, you know what I mean? Because if not, you were gonna get beat on and picked on all the time if you didn't defend yourself. You know what I mean?
It was about survival at that point.
Sure.
So obviously, with the way things were going in your childhood, it could have gone another way, obviously. And I know your brother has had some problems in and out of jail and
Sure.
whatever. Somehow you were able to avoid some of those problems, though.
Yeah. I always, this is how I got started in, in my experiments with drugs and stuff, is because my mom worked all the time and I tagged along behind my older brother. And, if you, they say if you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth. You know what I mean? So I was hanging around with him, and I got conned into a lot, and a lot of it I wanted to do to be cool too, because I was just trying to be accepted by somebody, because you can't really be cool and you don't really make any friends by being somebody's little brother. I guess I'll just say it like that. And so, they automatically look down on you, like you have to be there if they're there. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I don't really know what led me to go in the direction that I am. I just since I was a little kid, I just wanted to do something. I wanted to do something great. You know what I mean? I had no clue until I even graduated college that I was going to get into martial arts as a profession. And I don't know, something when I was a kid just told me I want to do something great one day. And it just happened to be martial arts that I got into.
So, was there a point, or was there any significant happening in your life that really made you wake up one day and say, hey, if I keep going down the path I'm on, it's not going to be good, and I need to make a conscious change to what I'm doing?
Do you want me to tell you the 100% truth? Do you don't want me to? I don't need to filter this. So I was, dealing in drugs and using drugs. And when I say that, I mostly, marijuana, but I had some friends and we were dealing together, and they got caught and they got put in jail for 5 years. And I was like, man, I've been lucky up to this point. And I just knew that I needed to make some changes, because if not, I was going to end up in jail, and I never wanted to see the inside of a jail cell. And I still haven't to this point, luckily, which when my daughters get a little bit older, I'm afraid that's going to change. But, I don't know. I didn't want to go to jail, man. I didn't want to be an inmate. and if you play with fire long enough, you're going to get burnt. And, I mean, I've watched most of my friends that I ran with back in the day. I mean, they're still in and out of jail. I mean, my best friend that I ran with all the time, Anthony, he's in there for, God, I think 20 years, man, for like armed robbery and kidnapping or something. And that's the type of people that I was running with, you know what I mean? And I don't think that I was ever a bad person. And Anthony's not a bad person. We're all misguided, man. And when you find something that gives you purpose, you stick with it, even when sometimes that thing is bad. And then, I think that some of those guys think that that's the only thing that they can do in life. You know what I mean? So I just try to give light and give people something or somebody to look up to.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how you ended up at EKU. I think it all started with a field trip.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to come to EKU on a field trip to like tour the school and we get the day out of school and we get to eat in the cafeteria. And like I did it solely because I get the day out of school. I get a free field trip. You know what I mean? So we came to EKU and they waived the application fee if we would apply that day while we were there. So I applied and I was like, there's no way they're going to accept me. And like, I don't know, a few weeks later, we get the mail and it said that I had been accepted. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to college. It was totally by chance, And once I got the EKU, I only had to change my major like seriously like 12 to 15 times before I figured out what I wanted to do.
Yeah, well, hey, that's part of it. But college originally was not really part of your plan. It's just kind of happened by chance.
Just nobody in my family had ever gone to college, number one. So that, and then just, I don't know, like people from most of the guys that I was hanging out with were not interested in college at all. So I wasn't super interested in college either myself. But like, I don't know, I figured that once I got accepted, I found out that I got like the regional scholarship too, and that I could come for free. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much a done deal once that happened, and I don't know, the rest is history now, I guess.
Well, you bounced around from major to major, and eventually you ended up in the communications department. So tell us, how did you end up there? Because I know you had a great fear of public speaking at some point, and so that seemed crazy.
Yeah. I don't even I know exactly when it happened, I can tell you, but like I was a music marketing major. I was a gen ed major. I was undecided. I was a business management major. Like I had I had a number of them just because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. Well, one of the gen eds was to take the introduction to public speaking, and I got Professor Strata that semester. And like the first couple of we had to talk about 3 things that we like or something like that, and it scared me to death. But I just really vibed with Professor Strata, and I liked him, and I just liked being around him. I liked him as a person. So I try harder for people whenever I like them, you know what I mean? That's how my teachers got to me whenever I was in high school, is they showed me attention, you know what I mean? Because some of the kids that behaved like I did, I was a troublemaker. I always made good grades, but I was a troublemaker, you know what I mean? So when they showed me attention, then, I tried harder for them, you know what I mean? And so I took the class with Professor Strata, and then I'd met, Dr. Thiem, Dr. Miners, Dr. Rudick. And I was a broadcasting and electronic media major whenever I found CMS. And Dr. John Taylor was one of my instructors too. And I don't know, I really liked what I was doing in those classes. So it just seemed to me that it was a good decision for me to change to that major. And it was a very wide major too. That was another thing that kind of sidelined me, as the other majors that I picked. I was trying to go into this one box, you know what I mean? And I had no clue what I wanted to do. But the stuff that you learn as a CMS major can, you learn research and development. You learn how to train employees at at businesses. You learn how to, like how to convince your loved one to go out on a date with you. I mean, you learn everything that you can possibly know from the CMS department, in my opinion. I learned a lot about like, I think like I learned how to like do research and development for business. Like, I don't know. I learned all kinds of cool stuff that I was like, I can definitely use this. I can definitely use that. I learned how to negotiate. One of the classes I took was in negotiation. I don't know. I don't know. All of the stuff that I did in there, I thought that was very applicable to any business setting. And that's why um, I set my sights on the CMS major. And then like, I always liked to talk too. I was a big talker if I wasn't in front of a group, you know what I mean? I waited tables at a truck stop and I was involved in music. So like, I was a big talker. I just hated being up in front of the group. So once I got that fear out of the way, it was a done deal on the decision that, hey, I'm going to be a CMS major.
Well, one of the things I can hear from you, and I hear it from a lot of alums at EKU, is that the faculty played a big part in your college experience.
100%. Yeah. Whenever I met Professor Strada, like I took multiple of his classes just to be in his class, and then I met Dr. Thiem, who like is, like, I don't know, I think the world of her. Like, she's somebody that I love, you know what I mean? Like, she's anytime I see her, it's all, hugs and stuff like that. And then Dr. Fairchild, I didn't get to take one of Krista Kimmel's classes, but once I graduated, me and her have been, me and her have been really cool. And then Dr. Rudick, Dr. Miners, John Fitch. I mean, like, there's just every one of those people are great people that, are just people that I, looked up to and I would like to be around, and I think that, not knocking anybody else at EKU, but like, those are the type of people that I wanted to be around. So I kept myself around them,
Well, and I've heard you talk before about the transition of being a student, and then once you become a graduate, your relationship with the faculty members change a little bit, and you go from being student to friends.
Yeah. I mean, on some levels, we're peers now. You know what I mean? Whenever I come back there, it's as a friend. They're not grading any of my papers, I guess, is the big difference. They're not giving me any grades.
Now, let's talk a little bit about how you got into fighting. And I know it kind of started with an internship. Was that somehow through school or?
No, so I was actually already involved in fighting before I did my internship with the Kentucky Fighting Challenge. So I had we boxed and wrestled and fought in the backyard since I was, 3-4 years old. Ever since, I found out about the Ninja Turtles or the Karate Kid. I mean, my cousin Jason had me in the backyard throwing roundhouse kicks when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. But my friend Shadow and like a number of my friends were like going to these unsanctioned MMA events, and I was like, man, y'all are stupid. I don't know why you would do that. That's stupid. I don't know why you would do this. And like, they would be like, man, you should come. You should come. I'm like, no, man, I'm not coming to that. That's a dumb idea. So my friend Shadow goes down, and like, me and Shadow have been, good friends since 6th grade. And like, he's done a bunch of my tattoo work and stuff. And like, he went down and fought, and I was like, well, Shadow did it. I have to do it now. And so I went down and I met the people that we trained with, Tony Scott, his mom Teresa, little brother Tim and Junior. I met all those guys, and they were the cool type. They were the type of people I like to be around. You know what I mean? They're a good time. We all, we got wild. We did a lot of bad stuff. And so like, I fought, like I'd known them for like a month maybe, and I'd been training for like a month or something, and they got me a fight. And so I get to the fights that night. They're down at the Russell County Fair, and they tell me that I'm fighting this guy named Brad Hell, Hell, right? So like, already as soon as his name is Helm, Helm, but like, they thought it was Brad Hill the whole time. So like, I'm like, all right, that's intimidating, but whatever. I was like 18, and like, I was like, I'd already been fighting forever, man. Like, I've been in so many fights at school and like in the neighborhood. Like, I had won a lot of fights, you know what I mean? And So set me up against this dude. Well, that was intimidating a little bit. And then he had multiple fights too already, and I'd never fought before. He was like 3-4-0 or something, and I'd never fought before. And I get down there that night, and like people are like, "Yeah, you're the guy fighting Brad," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." They're like, "You should back out. He's gonna kill you." And and I'm like, I'm 18-year-old punk, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, I didn't drive 2 hours down here to get punked out, you know? And so I'm like, I'm going to fight him. And then I saw him and I was like, holy crap, because like he's like muscles on muscle. His six pack had a six pack, and like he's just ripped, you know what I mean? And I don't know, like I got in the corner and like everybody in their corner is like listening to their coaches for advice and all that. And I was like in my corner, like, please, Jesus, if you could just let me make it through this, I swear I'll never do it again. And so like I ended up beating him in the first round, which the owner of Elite and my boss was the referee for that fight. And that's how we met. And like I got lucky, man. And you know, whatever you believe in, it was out there. It was looking out for me that day because it gave me my whole lifestyle from that one moment, you know, because if I would have lost that, I probably would have never fought again.
Well, and I obviously, I think it was more than luck because you've had 3 different amateur heavyweight title belts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've had a successful career, and you've been doing it. I've been fighting for a while now, right?
Sure. I had my first fight in 2008, in June of 2008. So the summer after I graduated high school, and yeah, I held the Bluegrass Brawl heavyweight title. I was the Kentucky Fighting Challenge interim heavyweight champion, and then I was the Hard Rock MMA heavyweight champion as an amateur. And then whenever I went pro, I was the first ever Hard Rock MMA pro heavyweight champion as well. So that's something that I hold near and dear to my heart, as I was the first ever pro champ for them as a heavyweight.
All right. So tell me the difference as someone who's not a fight fan, and I'll be honest with you, I watch it casually, but I don't follow it. MMA and UFC. What's the difference? Is it just different organizations?
So, yeah, I mean, so it's just like the NBA. You know what I mean? You have the minor leagues and you have the major leagues. So MMA is the sport as a whole. Mixed martial arts is the sport as a whole, right? And then the UFC is an organization who puts on mixed martial arts fights. You know what I mean? So they're just like, you know, a lot of the events around here are like the minor league events. This is where guys go and they fight and they prove themselves so that they get called up to the next level. So mixed martial arts is the sport as a whole. The UFC is an organization that hosts mixed martial arts fights.
Right. Okay. And I've heard you explain that before, and I thought that was the case. Now, your big break as far as UFC came in 2020. I think you ended up on Dana White's Contender Series, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I got the call on Halloween, and I was about to take my kids out trick-or-treating, and we get the call and says, hey, do you want to fight on the Contender Series? And I was like, yeah, I'm down. And they're like, oh, well, it's in 4 days. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'm still down. But, you know, so we got the call to be on the Contender Series. It was a very short notice fight. It was a winnable fight, though. You know, I fought Jared Vandera. I ended up losing in the first round, but, you know, before it was, things were going very well until they weren't, you know what I mean? And that's how fighting is, unfortunately. But like I was making a lot of bad decisions regarding my diet, regarding alcohol consumption. And then I wasn't training whenever that fight happened either. Now, a lot of people are like, well, you just fought like 2.5 weeks before that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't do anything in those 2.5 weeks. And that makes a huge difference, you know? So, my gas tank just wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like I have the skill that I think that I could have competed with him and beat him. But if your cardio and your conditioning's not there, then, you know, it's hard to win a fight when you can't breathe, you know?
But even though you lost, I think that night you impressed some folks and you caught some people's attention.
Yeah, I did. I mean, you know, Michael Bisping, who's a UFC Hall of Famer, he had a lot of good things to say about me. And like when Dana White signed Jared Vandera, he didn't say anything other than he's got a good chin and we need heavyweights. So I'm like, well, that means it sounds like I hit him hard is why he got signed. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, I jumped up and filled the spot for them. And, you know, I had to come, but they told me to come back and get a win and that, you know, they would work with me. And I did that. And, you know, we were going to appear on the next season of Dana White's Contender Series. And we were actually in the process of booking that fight. And they called me about the Tai Tuivasa fight.
Yeah. Now let's talk about coming up. You're part of UFC Fight Night 4 in Las Vegas on December 18th. That's your next match coming up, right?
I don't think it's Fight Night 4. It's like it's like 204. Maybe there's a bunch of them.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know what the number of it is.
And you're going against an Australian, Justin Tafa. Is that how you say it?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Justin Tafa. So, well, how are you feeling about that fight? Tell us. Do you know much about him? What do you expect?
I mean, he's a hard-headed, heavy-hitting, tough dude. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to jump in the pool and make a small splash. So I called him out. And it's a great fight for me. You know, I think it's the best fight in the UFC for me. Now, is he dangerous? Yeah, he's very dangerous. But everybody in the UFC is dangerous and can take your head off, man. So I just, you know, I found the fight that I think is the best for me. And I called him out and, you know, he agreed to the fight, but you know, that didn't mean that it was still going to happen. And then like a couple months later, we actually get the fight. So, you know, I think it's really cool that I got to pick my shot, you know, and I think it says something that the UFC is, you know, they like. I think it says that Mick and Sean and Dana like me because I've got to pick my shot. What other fighter gets to do that after they lost on their debut, you know, but, you know, he's a tough guy and, I'm looking forward to fighting with him. I'm looking forward to going out there and living life to the fullest that night.
All right, I got a lot more I want to ask, but I know we have some folks who've asked some questions, and I want to get those in before I go too far. Jennifer Fairchild says, Harry, as a small business owner and MMA fighter, how has your degree in communication studies helped you in your career?
You know what my favorite thing I tell people whenever, like, I used to get this question all the time. It doesn't happen anymore. And they're like, man, you went to college and got that degree for nothing? I'm like, dude, I use my degree in what we do every single day. And like people would ask me that all the time. They're like, really? You're going to graduate college and just teach karate? And I'm like, I manage the business. I do, you know, I teach and public speak all day. You know, the degree that I got is perfect for what I do as somebody that manages a small business and for somebody who teaches martial arts to the community. I mean, it's perfect.
Well, and you're doing things like this. I mean, obviously that degree helped you when you're doing interviews and things like, and you've done several of these kind of things.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm on this is number 3 this week already for me. And it's Monday. You know what I mean? I did 2 this weekend.
Yeah. Here's another question from Kayla DeLong, and she wants to know who are some of the most influential people in your life?
I mean, probably the person that like is the most influential in my life, like as a young kid, was Jennifer White. She was a teacher at Mount Vernon Elementary, and I was a student teacher there. I was taking a class, and we had to like we came on like a couple days of the week to their elementary school class, and like that was my first time like ever getting to be a leader in any way, shape, or forms. And like, I just really liked it. I really thought it was cool that kids looked up to me. So, and then like, she was a great person. Like me and her were just talking the other day. We're still friends to this day. And, you know, I mean, she did a lot for me, and, you know, she watched me cry. Like, I was a troubled kid, man. I cried a lot. And like she just, she believed in me and she helped me a lot. And then Sergeant Keith Graves in the JROTC program, him and Sergeant Major Taylor, I was kind of forced into being in ROTC because of my behavior, but like I see why they put me in there, because it was a great thing for me. I mean, Sergeant Graves' grandson was here tonight taking class with me, and he saw me at like a known dope house one time, and he was like, "Man, you're so much better than that." He's like, "I can't believe that you're over there running with those idiots," and like he always looked out for me. And then, the owner of Elite here, Will Schneider, like he found me, dude. I was a train wreck when he found me, man. And like he really has helped me get my life together. And I mean, gave me a career, something I can do for the rest of my life, man. And made me, made me the man that I am today, in a big way. And then, my mom's ex-husband, Grady DeLong, he was a big influence on me too. He taught me a lot about money and, becoming something more and not being just like everybody else. And those are the big ones. You know what I mean? My mom, of course, was always there for me whenever I was getting into trouble and doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to do. I mean, she'd wear me out and and I deserved it, but like she was always there. You know what I mean? No matter what happened, dude, I know mom, I know my mom's there. And then my wife, you know what I mean? Like me and her have been through, we've been through hell together, you know what I mean? And we still, we're stronger now than ever. So.
You mentioned Elite. I'm going to get back to Vanessa in a minute, but you mentioned Elite. You're general manager now for 4 different gyms, I think you guys have.
Yeah.
You've got, it sounds like you're in the perfect job because you're getting to teach and use your skills there. You get to work with kids, which I know you love. You've got the after school program, you do the summer camps that you do. I mean, it seems like you're in the perfect spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's not just karate. I'll say that. Listen, there's a lot of moving parts to this. Whenever I first started working with Master Schneider, we had 1 location, 2 after school vans, maybe 1. And it was just me and him and Emily Scaff. She graduated from EKU too. It was just us 3, man. We were the dream team, and we were rolling, man. And then, we had maybe 100 students back then. I'm not sure exactly where we were. I don't know at all. But we built it up to now we're 4 successful businesses, close to number 5. We've had multiple world champion martial artists, multiple black belts. We're giving kids careers. Whenever kids turn 14 and they train here, they get a job. Like, as long as they're a great prospect for a job, we're giving these kids careers. You know what I mean? So, we've turned what would be a part-time karate gig for a lot of people into an empire. We're over $1 million a year business, and we provide things that people need. We're providing summer camp and after-school programs to people that would otherwise be in daycare, and I'm not knocking daycare, but I'll say that I think that my influence and my staff and our team as a whole's influence is something that's really going to change kids. Like, I could take kids that have been in here for, like when they come in the door, they're too timid to talk to anybody. They are suffering from, like post-traumatic trauma, things that have happened to them. We've had multiple young ladies that have had very, very bad things happen to them, foster kids that have come in here, and we get to show those kids that they can be something more than they thought they could ever be. You know what I mean? And, the UFC thing is great and all that, but listen, that won't last forever. But what we do out here will last for these kids forever. And I tell you, like just last week, we had a group of kids in here, and I had a 12-year-old teaching the class. And he was rocking it. And I was like, parents, this is what your kid will turn into if you make them stick with it. I can't make you bring them to class, but if you do and you keep bringing them, they'll turn into kids like Aaron. And and just saying his name, I I could print off my student roster right now, and every one of those kids has great leadership qualities. They just need somebody to tap into their potential. And I try to do that. I'm not perfect, but that's what we try to do, man. We try to tap into their potential and make them better leaders, because anybody can get a black belt if they stick with it long enough, but not everybody can be a great leader,
Well, and obviously it's clear that you love teaching and you love working with the kids. And I read something about a bike giveaway that you've done also, where you were just buying random toys and giving them away. And then I think you kind of got a little clearer idea.
Sure. So basically what happened is, whenever we were on the way back from Vegas, I was like, man, I want to take some of the money that I won and do something cool with it. And I was telling my wife that, like, I just want to go to Walmart and buy a bunch of toys and like take them and give them out. And she was like, well, you know how it is. Like, if we get these kids a toy, they're going to break it. And like, they'll play with it for a week and then it's over with. And she was like, you should do something cooler. And she brought up the bike thing. And I was like, well, with the amount of money that me and my coach and my manager pulled together, we don't have that much money to buy that many bikes. And I hit up Ed McDaniel about it, and I told him what I wanted to do. And he was like, man, we can get all kinds of funds raised for that. So we ended up raising close to $5,000, which is it's not a ton, but I mean, we gave away close to 200 bikes, scooters, and tricycles, man. And
wow.
Like, it was a cool thing, man. Like, I don't know. It's just probably one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life, man. Just pulling up in a neighborhood and, giving every kid that walks up to me a bike or a scooter or a tricycle. It was just a cool thing. And we've got, like, right now we're planning our second one. My wife said that, like, we should do a shoe giveaway for, like, all, kids that are having it rough, give them a nice pair of, like, Nike shoes or something like that. So we're working on that right now. That's in the works. But when I get back from Vegas, we're definitely, every time I come back from a fight, we're giving back. So.
And you've targeted neighborhoods that were similar to the one that you grew up in, right? Kind of looking for the same kind of kids.
Yeah, so I mean, when the first place that we went to was Ramsey's Trailer Park, the place that the place that we moved to from Ohio. And then when we came to Richmond, we also came back to the neighborhood on Cary Ann Court, the trailer park down there, where me and Vanessa started our life at. And then we went to a couple different housing projects up there, and those are the kids that need it the most. In my opinion, you know what I mean? The kids that think that nobody's watching and nobody's ever going to care about them.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned Vanessa several times. I know you guys have 2 daughters. You have a son from a previous relationship, part of your family, and we're expecting another one, right?
Yeah. Number 4 is on the way. She'll be born late January, early February, probably January for sure.
And it's a girl. It's a girl.
It is. Yeah. Now, I'm not excited. Like, we wanted to have another boy, but we're very happy because she's healthy.
So you've got Cameron and Scotty. Is that right?
Carmen, Scotty, and Grady.
Okay. All right. My note was messed up. Grady, Carmen, and Scotty. And have you named the new one yet, or you're going to wait?
We have a name, but I'm not allowed to disclose that at this time, or I'll get beat up.
And that's understandable, and that's okay. Well, it's a beautiful family. And how do they feel about you fighting?
It's a very love-hate thing. I mean, I recently took one of my training partners, my best friend Jesse. He had a fight up in Covington and won it. And on the way home, I asked, my son was like, "This is my favorite fight I've ever been to." And I was like, "Really? Even when I fight?" And he's like, "I don't like it when you fight." So, but he's seen me. They've seen me take some whoopings, man. I've got beat up a few times, and so they love it and hate it at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. So what's next for Harry Hunsucker? Is there still a goal or something that you want to accomplish, you want to do?
I got tunnel vision right now, man. December 18th is the only thing on my mind right now. And you know, this camp has gone perfect for me. My training camp has, and like I feel the best that I've ever felt. And you know, I have a lot that I need to prove to people. There's a lot of people out there that think that I'm a chump and think that I've been handed these fights just because I was a late notice replacement. But in 2 weeks, I get to show people who I really am. You know what I mean? Whether I win or lose this time, there is no stone unturned in the preparation, man. And I will be ready, and I am going to fight my heart out, win or lose. And so I'm not looking at anything after this right now, other than, you know, coming back home and celebrating Christmas with my family. There's nothing else that I'm thinking about right now other than winning this fight.
Well, and that makes perfect sense. And so if people here want to watch this, is it a pay-per-view deal, or is it on ESPN Plus, or how can we watch it?
So it's on ESPN or ESPN Plus One. I'm not even sure because I don't know where I'm at on the fight card yet. But if you just watch the whole fight card, you're definitely not going to miss me. All right? Yeah, if you just start at the beginning and watch them all, you're not going to miss me.
I want to say I read somewhere where it was number 4 on the card, but I don't know if that's.
They say that stuff, man, and I won't know until I get there. Once I get there, I'll see the fight card order, and I can put the word out. But right now, I have no clue.
Well, absolutely wish you the best of luck out there, and we know that you'll give it your best, win or lose, and I'm looking forward to watching it. Harry, thanks for being with us tonight. I've loved hearing about it, and I would love to hear more about your training sometime. Maybe we'll do this again next year, and we'll talk about. I'd love to hear what goes into your training. I know you had 5 Mile Monday today, and some of those things. Maybe we can do a segment where we talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah, I'm down, man. I really appreciate it. Can I plug myself really quickly before
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if you guys are on Instagram, go give me a follow at Hurricane_Hunsucker. Again, it's at Hurricane_Hunsucker. You guys can keep up with everything there. And then I have a fan page on Facebook too. I'm at my max for my friends on Facebook. So if you just go check out my fan page, it's Harry the Hurricane Hunsucker on Facebook. And I think you can still follow my personal profile, even though I'm full friends wise.
All right.
I think you can still get like notifications on me and stuff.
Well, go follow him, go support him. Harry, we'll be behind you all the way. Good luck on the 18th. And again, well done on everything, the business success, the great way that you give back to the community. You are certainly representing EKU very well, and it's an honor to have you in as an alum.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And one more thing, I guess, is like, I don't really think that like any of what I'm doing is like a big deal. So like, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing what I like, you know what I mean? And like, it just happens to be cool stuff. You know what I mean? So like, you know, people tell me that all the time. They're like, man, you're doing this and you're doing that. And I'm like, man, it's not really that big of a deal. We don't have to make it one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and I think that's why people love supporting you, because you're just doing what you want to do and what you love doing, and that makes it even more fun to support you. So, again, congratulations on all the success. Good luck on the 18th. We're behind you 100%.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Have a good night.
Yeah, and Merry Christmas.
You too.
All right, that's Harry, the Hurricane Hunsucker, our guest tonight, a 2011 EKU alum, and he's getting ready for a big fight coming up December 18th in Las Vegas. He'll take on the Australian Justin Taffa as part of ESPN Fight Night, and be checking, I think it's on ESPN Plus. I'm not exactly sure, but you'll be able to watch that somewhere on December 18th. You'll be off for the holidays, so take the time, look it up, and check Harry out. Special thanks to him for being with us tonight. And, of course, thank you for tuning in and watching, not just tonight, but all season long, the past year on our Alumni Spotlight series. Like I said, we will be back in 2022 with more Alumni Spotlights. Be watching our Facebook page and also all the social media and your email inbox for details on when we'll be back and who our next guest will be on the Alumni Spotlight. For Alex Hanovan and Steve Greenwell, who push all the buttons behind the scenes, I'm Dan McBride. Thanks for watching, and go Big E.